Adding HTV or heat transfer vinyl to waterproof canvas is an easy process. You just need to know kind of like how to do it so that when you apply your design on the waterproof canvas, your PVC coating on the back, which is the plastic that makes the fabric waterproof, doesn't melt too much and eventually shrink your fabric, which, believe me, it has happened to me. That's how I know. Okay, so for years I've been making little bags like these using waterproof canvas and adding this design that I created onto my pouch. I have made these and also one like this one. Now, I didn't create this design. This design I purchased, okay, online. So it is possible, and I'm going to share with you how to do it today. So don't worry if you feel like your waterproof canvas will get damaged with the heat when you apply the heat transfer vinyl, because I am going to share with you how I do it so that you can also get the same results. Super important to do mirror because this is HTV and I need to make sure that is cut in the mirror setting, which is on. Okay, let's do this. So now I have this design that I created on Canva, and it's just Proverbs 31:29, just the last very part of it, of that Bible verse. It says, "But you are the best." And I have this one in English and in Spanish, but I'm going to use the English one as an example. I made this design, and so I'm going to now apply it, right, to this piece of waterproof canvas. And you can do it either way. You can take the waterproof canvas, apply the heat transfer vinyl, and then cut the pattern, or you can do it as I did. I cut the pattern and then I apply the heat transfer vinyl. And I like to do it that way because, as you can see, this pattern right here, it already has the cuts here where we're going to fold for the bottom of it. And because this is a round top, it could be a little bit more complicated, not complicated, but you know, a little more challenging, I guess, to center it. So what I'm going to do is that I am going to find, when I fold this, this is my bottom, okay? So I want my design to be visible, not too close to the bottom. So I'm assuming that 1 inch over that folded area where the bottom is going to be enough, because that gives me enough room for the seam allowance and for my design not to be too close to the bottom. So I am going to take my ruler and a marking pen, or chalk in this case, and mark 1 inch from that fold. For the waterproof canvas, because it's such a nice fabric, you can actually just finger press it to find the middle point. And it will keep the crease, okay, in the center. And then when we apply the heat, that crease is going to go away. Take your design and fold it in half, or find the half point with the ruler, okay? But I've done this so many times that I know my middle point is right there where the O is. Okay, I know that's my middle point. And the bottom part here is a straight line. So I will align Proverbs 31:29 along that line that I just marked on my piece of fabric. And find the middle and just make sure that it looks straight here. Even if it doesn't look straight on the top, it still looks straight here at the bottom. And that's what's important because the design is kind of, tilted. Beautiful. So I know that's where it's supposed to go. Before we go on, I take some parchment paper and I place it on the bottom here because when you heat the fabric, this PVC coating on the back, which is plastic, is going to start melting. So just keep that in mind. So I put some parchment paper here, and then I have some of this Teflon tape that also helps keeping the design in place so it doesn't move around. So you take a little bit of that tape and cut it. Just take a couple of pieces, not a lot, but a couple of pieces is enough. Okay. If you want to warm up the fabric, you can, but I wouldn't because I have my crease there, so I don't want to lose it. But I find my half point that I folded here and I marked it on the plastic of the heat transfer vinyl. And I'm just going to line it up like that. Take my tape and just put a couple of pieces anywhere you want, where you think your design will need it. Okay. Okay. And here's where the fun part comes. If you have a machine that you press it, you can go ahead and do that now. I don't have a machine to press, but I do have a flat iron, but I'm going to use my regular iron just for this video to show you. So we just apply the heat. And really, the heat is about 350 degrees or the high setting, whatever your fabric can take. But for waterproof canvas, you kind of want the highest heat you can get to. When I wait 10 seconds and I stop and I take a look at it. So you'll continue to do this step and you're going to do like 10 seconds at a time. You don't want to keep the hot iron in there too long because I noticed with a waterproof canvas, if this part gets too hot, the fabric actually starts shrinking. So you want to make sure that you have the right size. So that's why sometimes it's good to just apply the design and then cut the fabric. But, if you do it like I'm doing it, then you just do it slowly, okay? And apply some pressure and count 10 seconds. And that's it. And then keep going to the next part. Wait for it to cool down a little. And do the next part. Okay. Once you've done that a couple of times, you can actually start noticing if you can remove it. And in this case, I still can't. Because you see, okay, on one side, I noticed that my heat transfer vinyl, it's already attached to the fabric kind of, but on the other side, it's not. It's not coming out easily. It's not coming off easily. So I just need to apply a little more heat. It's very hot. And when I put the iron here, I'm actually applying pressure, okay? I'm not just holding the iron, I'm applying some pressure because I want my HTV to melt into the fabric. So you can do 5 seconds, 10 seconds, etc. until you start noticing that your heat transfer vinyl is getting attached to your fabric. Now, something else that you can do in this stage is to use a credit card or a spatula or anything like that and kind of help the HTV stick to the fabric. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Nope, still the little V here is just giving me a hard time. I'm going to remove the tape from this area. These little letters sometimes can be a little complicated because they're so small that, you know, they don't just want to attach, but it's possible. It's there. Okay, perfect. Okay, and at this point, once you've, press it and use the spatula enough, and you know that everything is pretty attached, like you have an idea, you're going to test by pulling the film. And if you notice that as you're pulling the film away from the fabric, if the heat transfer vinyl staying on the fabric, you're good. But if the heat transfer vinyl still stuck to the film, you gotta go back and press it some more, either with the spatula or with the iron, okay? And then slowly you're going to pull it. Very slowly. You're gonna pull it off. Very slowly. Okay. We're not fully done just yet. Now, you are still going to press this some more. Because when you use heat transfer vinyl on this type of fabric, you want to make sure your heat transfer vinyl is infused into your fabric as much as possible. The way you know that is because you will see almost the texture of your fabric through the heat transfer vinyl. And it's probably difficult for you to see that, but I'm going to try to show you with this letter, the letter Y, because it's the bigger letter. But you kind of see it, not fully, but we wanted to really see it. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to now take another piece of parchment paper. You can just fold this if it's long, if it's big enough. And with the parchment paper, you're going to press this one more time. And do not move the iron back and forth. You don't want the heat transfer vinyl to move around, because with the being warm, it gets really flexible. You want to up the iron and press, up and press. Woo, perfect. So it's hot, hot. But I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but if you can see how now you see the texture of the fabric through the heat transfer vinyl, that tells me this heat transfer vinyl is completely fused onto my fabric. It's not through the fibers, right? Because it's not fusible, but it is the deepest it's going to get. And that's exactly what I want so that it will last a long, long time. Beautiful. If I want to press, I think I'm going to press this side a little bit more. Just a few more seconds. Nice. And now, see, it's perfect on the back. It's not burned, and you have your heat transfer vinyl attached to it with your design. And now you can make your bag the same way you would make your bag.